What a race today in Baku. Beautiful, beautiful race. It's one of the best races we've seen in quite some time in F, and it proves that this is what we want to see. We're having a four-way battle for a win at a point in time, and we have Baku will always create the accident experience, and we had two of that, though it was not enjoyable, but it's something that the Baku experience will be there, and you have to be on lock for it to know if you're really in it or not. Great win for Oscar Piastri. Fought for this one. It was not given to him by his teammate, though there was a time in which his teammate helped him, but certainly it was a great win for him, being able to jump Charles Leclerc on lap 20, and from there it was just off defending, and he defended for his life. He defended like somebody that needs another breath of life, and he got it. Challenging one for Charles Leclerc, starting on pole for the fourth time in Baku and could not translate a pole to a win. What a disappointment for him. And a good one for Carlos Sainz, giving Ferrari an opportunity in the Drivers' Championship, giving McLaren an opportunity in the Constructors' Championship, and also in Drivers' Championship. For both his teammate Charles Leclerc and also Lando Norris, his former teammate. He did a very good job. He's a very good teammate. And the Mercedes engine also, Alex Albon, did a good job to help McLaren. The England boys are doing good jobs for themselves, certainly. But let me break it down for you. Hamilton started from the pit lane. Let me put this on Mercedes. They made the precautionary change on George Russell's car yesterday. Why wait until after qualifying to make that same precautionary change, to check into Hamilton's engine to see if it will do a good job or not before making it? Because certainly, you know, he's going to get a penalty changing the engine. But I believe Mercedes thought they had nothing to lose, which for me is crap. When you have nothing to lose, you should have changed the engine yesterday, not getting a penalty. Now, Hamilton started from pit lane because they had to change the engine after Park Farming, and he got more penalties. Why? Because they had to do another suspension setup. So he started from the pit lane. Ocon too had his own fear of the shear because he has nothing to lose. He started last, so why not just go last? A lot of drivers and teams are under investigation after the race. For VSC, Max Verstappen is under investigation, which might put him possibly in that 5th position or in 6th behind Fernando Alonso. And also McLaren for pit lane infringement, yes. And I don't know who infringed yet, but we would see after the race. Ferrari are closing in also in the Constructors' Championship on Red Bull, which is very, very sorry story for the Red Bull. 425-point Ferrari, and if Carlos Sainz had ended the race ahead of Sergio Perez, it could have been like 430 points, and that would have been like 26 points behind Red Bull, which they can close up on Red Bull. Because I said that in one of my videos that if Ferrari keep going at that pace, they might take the Red Bull out of even the 2nd position Constructors' Championship, which they are looking at. And great one for Colapinto, 2nd F1 race, got some 4 points for himself to take home, which is a great thing for him. But how did it happen? Lewis Hamilton, a bad drive for him today. There was nothing much he can do. Azerbaijan is a place in which you can merely defend in some places and you can get out of it. He was stuck in DRS all through the race. Over 50% of the race, he was behind cars, and he had to cool because their tires were overheating. On the hard, they look better, but on the medium, they look worse. While on the medium, the McLaren looked better, and on the hard, I think they were not looking better. The Ferrari also suffered on the hard. It was a tire game today, just a tire game and strategy game, in which I believe Ferrari got right, but I think it was due to Charles Leclerc. He got it wrong, allowing Piastri to pass him. He could have defended his life and he could have won the race just defending. He could have done that, but I think he will reflect on that after the race to see where he really missed it. But I believe if he had defended all through, he would have won the race. He had the chance to defend all through, even brought his teammate close behind to overtake Perez, and possibly that would not have happened to his teammate. But I think Carlos Sainz did a good job today. They'll look at it, but from my own point of view, looking at that, I think the fault is 60% Carlos Sainz and also 40% to Sergio Perez. Carlos Sainz thought he was ahead. He was trying to push Sergio Perez away so I can block him and take the lead and help his teammate. While Sergio Perez wanted to block, but Carlos Sainz was some car lengths ahead. I think if they look at that, it might be a racing incident, possibly. But for Carlos Sainz's drive today, he drove magnificently. There was nothing he could do for Sergio Perez to jump. He maintained his composure from that point. And to George Russell and Max Verstappen, a bad race also for Max Verstappen. If Max Verstappen had qualified outside top 10, don't see him getting any point today because the car was not drivable for him. He didn't enjoy the drive. He complained all through. At the point he had the same overstay he had been complaining again. He jumped George Russell on the first lap, and George Russell was able to get him back in the race. But to start it with, Stroll and Tsunoda, turn 3, they bumped into themselves. Stroll ended his own race, lost his tire, lost some part of his suspension on lap 1, while Tsunoda ended his own race some laps in because he had a toe out sidewall of his side pod, so he had to retire the car at some point in the race, and that was not given for him. Now, to analyze all these drivers, let me start for Albon. Alex Albon did a fantastic job putting Norris and Verstappen in the DRS train because they know they have the best straight line speed. He dropped them in the DRS and they were just there for him to get the maximum 6 points he got today, because if he didn't do that with those tires, he would not be able to get into points, because if he has tired on medium and changed earlier on the hard, he would not have been where he had to be. But he was able to frustrate Lando Norris, which was helping Lando Norris, while Lando Norris was frustrating Max Verstappen, who had changed his tire but could not overtake him. And from that point, that was where Max Verstappen started suffering with his tire. He suffered a lot with his tire that he lost to George Russell. That was why George Russell was able to come third. He profited from the accident of Carlos Sainz and Sergio Perez. He was able to profit from it. Franco Colapinto, second race in F1, drove beautifully, was matching and getting close to his teammate to make sure he come home 8 points. Williams team 10 points. What a great drive for them. Lewis Hamilton, this race was wish-wash all through. He came home with 2 points, profiting from the 2 drivers that were out. If not for that, he would have ended his race in 11th, no point. And for Oliver Biermann, what a race, finishing ahead of Nico Hülkenberg in his second F1 drive, having points in which were well deserved. He defended Lewis Hamilton to a point that he frustrated Lewis Hamilton. He defended his life. Colapinto also did that. They both defended Lewis Hamilton. Young boys with young heads. I told you in some videos, if you can check some of my past videos, that some of these Formula 2 drivers coming to Formula 1, they will do a better job than some of these present Formula 1 grade. And that is what Franco Colapinto has proven. And also Oliver Biermann. They have shown that they are good drivers. They have the potential to do a great job in F1, and that is what they did. And perfect one for them. She said, I love what they did. They did a very good job. To George Russell, a wish-wash race today, took the advantage and he was able to come up on podium. And I said Leclerc didn't really do a good job. He really didn't do a good job, but he ended second, struggling behind Oscar Piastri, wasted his rear tires, lost grip, and his teammate had to help him, and there was an accident that took him out. But Oscar Piastri, great racing for him. Started well, squeezed Charles Leclerc out, took the leading position, and from there he defended his life all 3. And like I said in the shot, McLaren pulling a very stupid game out in strategy. They could have won this race easily if they had taken the right strategy. Immediately Sergio Perez pitted. They trusted their instinct, pit straight, cover up Charles Leclerc. They would have overtaken him earlier and they would have been ahead instead of struggling Oscar Piastri to defend or Norris to help him, because Oscar Piastri was meant to be helping Norris. And role reversal didn't really help them, but they were lucky they got ahead. And the skirmish between Lance Stroll and Tsunoda really gave us another Baku incident that we always have. But up on today, there was no safety car. There was only a VSC to end the race, which was perfect. No safety car in Baku. Great one. In a long time, I've not seen that. It makes a whole good one. Congratulations to Lewis Hamilton for 100,000 race laps in F1, but his race was wish-wash. I have to say that because Mercedes really messed themselves up. If you know you don't have a competing car, but you have a good race car, you should have done the right strategy to put your drivers in the right place, not waiting for opportunities. And they really did that, in which they could have used Lewis Hamilton and George Russell to help themselves in the race to gain more points, but they messed their own race up. Imagine Lando Norris has started in a good position. It could have been a McLaren or McLaren and that would have been a good one for McLaren today, because they did a very good job. They allowed Max Verstappen to cook his tire. He cooked his tire and overdone it. Charles Leclerc also cooked his tire and it was overdone. It was really, really overdone. For me, the intelligent game Ferrari played at the end of the race cost them Carlos Sainz, and I think that also cost Sergio Perez more in Destructors Championship, because he will be leading now in the Destructors Championship. That damage is worse, is mad, and for them to repair it, it will take a whole lot for them to repair it. And to damage control, I think at this point in time, Red Bull should know that there is no point for them in Singapore. I don't see how they will do it in Singapore to get close to the top two. I mean, the Ferrari and the McLaren. It's going to be a very difficult race for them, because Singapore is another race in which they have a lot of turns. It's a street circuit in which there will be chicanes and they will find it difficult turning their car on long runs, and it will be difficult for them. I think they need to do something, or just concede that Singapore is gone. McLaren can get the maximum point to bite them off. 53 points now to Lando Norris, and McLaren are already in the championship. If McLaren can bite them off and Ferrari, then Ferrari might close them up in championship and Ferrari might close them also with Lando Norris. But a good race for McLaren today, for Oscar Piastri, and for Lando Norris, salvaging from 15th position to 4th, which is a good one. I think they still have a lot of work to do, and for McLaren, they just bring more updates, put the car in a position in which it can compete. And Ferrari also, good one today. They can do better in Singapore. They've always had a good car in Singapore, so if they can keep that up, I think it will be a good one for them. And also McLaren, last year they did very well, P1, P2, that's Carlos Sainz and Lando Norris. If they can bring that kind of a car in Singapore this weekend, I think it will be a very good one for them, and I don't see how RB will close it up. The competition is going going to get stiffer, more tighter, and I don't know what RB needs to do now, because Austin is not going to look great for them, even with the upgrades they are bringing. But for Mercedes, I think they're on the right path, but they're messing it up, because I think they're still making some mistakes that is compromising them. If they're still concentrating on George this season, I think they still need to concentrate on the two drivers, but I think this season they're concentrating much on George, which might bite them back in this Constructors Championship and bite them back against next year, because the only driver they can get the maximum idea and upgrade from is the 7-time world champion, who has given them his all, and with much experience they can get much from Lewis Hamilton, and Lewis Hamilton can give them a lot. I don't know what they are thinking. I don't know how they are thinking it through, if it is working for them, but I think Mercedes need to look around themselves and see where they really need to get points from. The points are meant to come from Lewis Hamilton, seriously, because George Russell is not getting the best out of race condition. Race conditions for George Russell is not good. His qualifying is outstanding, but for Lewis Hamilton, race conditions is always good. Even though for him being stuck behind DRS today, he could have made some more points at the end of the race. Majorly, I think McLaren still has a lot to learn, but they need to learn as they grow and make some critical decisions that will change the way they race. Ferrari too has a lot to learn, but against next year, these two teams are looking like teams that will be in high competition next year, the McLaren and the Ferrari. And if they can keep it up, Red Bull coming next year, I don't see what Red Bull will do here next year, apart from losing Andre Newey. If it is difficult for them to improve or grow the RB20, what will they do next year? And Mercedes, let's see what they can come up with. Aston Martin certainly might have an input, a chippy input from Andre Newey next year as against the car, but they are majorly thinking of 2026 with Andre Newey. But let's see what they are doing. Williams are coming up, they are doing a great job. As are coming up, they are doing a great job. Let's see what they can do. I'm not talking about other teams like Alpine and Sauber, because their race was terrible. But Alonso did a good job today in that midfield. He did a very good job. He was overtaken and he was able to maintain his steez to come home in that position in which he got. Aston Martin would have thought they wouldn't be coming with such points, but they did a good job for them. And congratulations to Oscar Piastri once again. Great drive from Charles Leclerc. Congratulations to Colapinto, and also congratulations to Oliver Bierman. Great race in F1 today, and I believe we can have more great races for the remaining 6 races of the season. Catch you guys. Love you guys. Bye.